Now, everybody knows the term contract year. It's kind of expected that when players are expected to sign a new contract, they'll put in some extra work and have a really big year hoping to sign a big, nice deal. But that doesn't always work out for them. Sometimes a contract year doesn't end up being a great year, and that's been the case for a few players in the NHL this year. Mike, there's a few players in the league having nightmare years hoping to sign contracts. Who do you think has lost themselves the most money from a poor first start to the season?
Well, there's a few guys that pop up, and you're right. Everyone loves to bet on yourself, and when it works out, you look like a genius. But these guys have all had contracts in front of them and elected not to sign them, looking for bigger and better. You think about Phillip Danault in Montreal. He just scored his first goal of the season. He's been replaced as kind of the top line center. Now he's the second guy or maybe the third guy. And if he had a 5 or 6 year deal at $5 or $6 million in front of him, he might be kicking himself for turning that down now with the numbers he's putting up and his diminished role. You think about Taylor Hall. He probably could have signed $80 million deal in Jersey a couple years ago, and it's been maybe a couple year progression for him, but he went to Buffalo thinking, I'll play with Jack Eichel, I'll light it up, and then I'll get my big deal. And while he's still playing well and driving play, he just is not finishing goals anymore, and I don't know if he's going to get the kind of term or dollars he would have got in Jersey. But even if he would have got maybe this past summer, coming off his year where he was traded to Arizona, so Taylor Hall will have left a lot of money on the table. But maybe nobody more than Mika Zibanejad, who led the league last year in goals per game with over 40 goals in the season where he missed a little bit of time. He was looking at an 8-year deal for $7.5, $8, $8.5, $60 million minimum. And now he's gotten off to a very slow start. His name's cropped up in some trade rumors. I don't know if the team would be comfortable in giving him that kind of term and certainly that kind of dollars. He might be looking at a $20, $30 million decrease in a potential contract he could get coming off a year in which his numbers have plummeted based off his great year last year. So for all these guys, they bet on themselves, which I applaud, but it does not always work out.
Yeah, only 9 points so far this year for Mika Zibanejad. Now, another big free agent who doesn't really seem like he's going anywhere is Ovi. How do you think that contract will look this year?
That's a tough one to figure out because what he deserves to get paid as an upper 30s-year-old player, even if he scores a lot of goals, versus what he's going to get paid as a legacy franchise player are not the same number. He probably deserves, $7.5, $8, $9 million based on the 30 or 40 goals he plans on scoring every year for the next several seasons. But with Nick Backstrom signing for almost $10 million, I think Alex Ovechkin's going to say, well, listen, I'm obviously going to get more than my buddy Nicky, and I'm going to want 11 or 11.5 or something where Connor McDavid makes. And while franchise value and all that he has accomplished there would warrant that contract, managing a cap in a flat cap world probably doesn't work with Alex Ovechkin signing a 4 or 5 year deal for 10 or 11 or more $million. So that is a really tough contract to negotiate because it doesn't even matter what he does this year, whether he has a down year or an up year. He's going to get paid for what he's done for the past 15 years, not the past 6 months. It's a tricky contract to negotiate. He's probably going to get paid more than he actually deserves based on production.
Yeah, it's hard to picture Ovi going anywhere else, and I guess we'll have to see whether or not those few players can pull out a big second half of the season. Mike, thank you so much for joining us on the BarDown Breakdown.